Well, whether you like it or not, your fingerprints will be taken when you get your driver's license. The process the Texas Department of Public Safety Director believes that we all need to go through. The Dallas Morning News watchdog columnist Dave Lieber joins us today to kind of take us deeper inside the story. Dave, good morning to you.
Hi, Eric.
In your column on Sunday, you tell us that DPS Director Steve McCraw protects our country well, but then you raise serious questions about how the process was launched earlier this year. Is that right?
Right. I went to get my driver's license, and I was really surprised when the lady asked me for my fingerprints. And I'd never heard anybody ever mention that we had to give fingerprints when we get a driver's license, 12-year renewal in my case. And I just was shocked, and I went and I researched it and found out that nobody had announced it, nobody had talked about it. It just had been sprung on us, and I'm thinking that it was done to avoid public scrutiny so we wouldn't have a big privacy debate about whether this big change in our society is actually something that we want to do.
Well, you know, I'm not an attorney, full disclosure, obviously. Is that is this legal? What did you find out about that?
Well, I started tracking it back, and I found out that there was a law passed in 2005 by the legislature that allowed them to take, besides their thumbprint, it said if you couldn't take a thumbprint, you could take a regular index finger. And that was what it said. And I talked to a bunch of lawmakers who wrote that law and voted on it in 2005, and they told me that we never authorized all 10 fingerprints to be taken on a driver's license. And then I went and saw that there was $1 million funded by the legislature for this program this past couple of years ago by the legislature, but it was kind of hidden in a contingency appropriation bill. And it just said this one little line, it said expanded electronic fingerprint authority. And that really didn't tell anybody that they were about to take all 10 fingerprints from just about everybody who applies for a driver's license in the state of Texas.
Yeah, okay. Do you believe he can make all of this right with Texans if he goes back through the proper legislative channels this session?
Yeah, I definitely do. In fact, Ken Paxton, the senator from McKinney, has stated that as Attorney General, he's running as a Republican, he will push it for a vote in the next legislature if he's elected, that the lawmakers have to approve this on a vote or not, whether they want a grandma to have her fingerprints taken for her voter ID card, right, even though she never committed a crime.
Well, you know, the one thing good journalism always does is it prompts more questions. So here's one for
Right.
you. Where can people at home find more information to decide for themselves if this is something that's fair?
Well, okay, I want people to understand first that from now on in Texas, as of now, when you apply for your driver's license or you apply for an ID card to vote or you apply for your 12-year in-person renewal at the driver's license center, you have to give your fingerprints. Now, how you feel about that, pro or con, I suggest that you contact your state legislator and talk to them in an email or a letter and let them know what you think, if this is a good idea or not. Also, I've written about 5 columns on this, and you can go read them at dallasnews.com/watchdog. I've been tracking this now for several months, learning all I could about it, so you don't have to do it. And I'm kind of the Woodward and Bernstein of fingerprints, you know.
One might call you that, yes. Dave Lieber with the Dallas Morning News. We certainly appreciate your reports. And we'll remind everybody at home, Dave's going to be joining us every Monday at this time with reports of this nature. Dave, thank you so very much.
Thanks, Eric.